Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. If you just joined us, this is International Forum and we're taking a look at the tariff war. Yes, of course, posted by Donald Trump. He's saying America has been jaded for so long. You get to see foreign goods in America and other foreign nationals who don't want to purchase goods from America. They are saying American goods, they are just so expensive. So maybe just to have this common ground, according to Donald Trump, is a businessman, they have to place sanctions on these groups so that people can still have goods from America as an alternative. Like what he said in his campaign, America first. To him, the world has been ripping Americas for so long. He's been saying this over 3 decades ago. He's saying the world has been cheating America, and if he becomes the president, he's going to work on that. That is the reason why he's doing what he's doing right now, saying America first, hence tariff on goods from other parts of the world, to have that particular equilibrium for America to thrive. With me here in the studio to talk about this, I have a clergyman, a political analyst, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Reverend Humphrey Arega. Reverend, welcome to International Forum.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your coming.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. This is the first time we're seeing this year on this platform.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. All right. Sitting very close to him, he is a legal practitioner, political affairs commentator, human rights activist. Join me to welcome Barrister Emmanuel Obakpodo. Barrister, welcome. And of course, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. It's a pleasure being here.
Yeah. Okay, let me start off with Reverend. Reverend, Donald Trump was interviewed over 3 decades ago. They never had it in mind to be a president. And he said the world has been ripping America off for a long time. That was over 3 decades ago. And now he became the president. You see, have the same notion, saying for America to stand in this place, some drastic measures and actions need to be taken by the leadership. And right now he is the leadership, so to speak. And he's signing so much executive order. And when he was asked why he was doing it, he said, America first, America first, America first. And here we are, the tariff war. What can you make out of this, Reverend?
Thank you very much. I see the war as, to me, it's a little bit funny. It's unnecessary because the world has become a global village. And everybody, no one country can do without the other. No one country can specifically say without him, other countries cannot survive. And I believe that in the world of collectivity, reasoning and persuasion is important. It is not a situation where one man gets up and says, this is what I want to do. Right now, Donald Trump is behaving like a despot, even in his country. There are dismissals, there are sacks, there are threats everywhere within the American country, where he's supposed to be a democratic situation, where there are levels of government. The legislature, the executive, and the judiciary are 3 principal regions of government that have their powers. And right now, with his executive orders, he's usurping a lot of those authorities. And thank God for American judiciary that has a measure of independence. They are already trying and blocking some of his executive orders, and some of them will still come. I also believe that his war against nations may look good, but it will backfire. He's already doing that because China is already taking measures. You know, the point is, even if you go to China, some of the companies that does manufacturing job for America are Americans who open companies in China because it is cheaper to produce products in China than to produce it in the US because of tax, because of everything. And look at Canada. Canada has also said, we give 2/3 of your energy. So if you give us taxes because we feel we don't buy your cars, which is also very correct. We also impose curfews on our energy. Without energy, nothing works. The same thing with UK. I listened to European countries and UK talking yesterday, and I said, we are all independent nations. We all have our rights. We all have. Why don't you discuss? If you think that I'm not doing too well with you, we discuss. And let's look. Don't impose as if you are the laws over them. They are independent nations, and those countries are not subject to you. You know, Africans may be frightened because of how we have managed ourselves. But you see, Africa is supposed to be the bride of the world, because every resource you think of in the world is in Africa. Every mineral resource is in Africa. Intellect is most of the things that happens in the US. Again, like I keep saying to myself, America is a nation of immigrants. The Native Americans are a little bit of a small minority. But most of the people are immigrants who have come from everywhere and used their talent and resources to build America. And then you are coming to say, yes, there are people who come illegally. Fine, deal with the illegal issues. But don't threaten every nation as if you are the only one that makes them survive. We all have our rights, we all have our privileges, we all have responsibilities, but leadership by democratic norms is based on compromise, is based on discussions. And if you, who is supposed to be coming from a democratic country, is behaving like a despot, then you are already putting democracy on edge.
All right. Already putting democracy on edge. Barrister Manuel Papolo, do you share his sentiment?
I think
because he's saying, look, from what is going on right now, the countries of the world are independent, save Africa, because of the way we position ourselves. The rest, they're beginning to speak back, they're beginning to talk back, they're beginning to act tough. Go ahead.
I take exception. And what are they talking about? I think the policies has been ordered by Donald Trump just now. To my mind, it's a wake-up call to other nations of the world. And just like the Reverend said, I think particularly Africa, if African leaders who see themselves more of tyrants and emperors could just now not sit down and begin to think of how they would develop their own country, or instead feel that they need to put their people under or subject them under to hardship and look for a home somewhere, they should know that it will not be as rosy or it will not be as wonderful as it used to be with the likes of Donald Trump. Now, let me speak on the tariff as ordered by Donald Trump. You would agree with me, these three nations, particularly two of America's neighbor, Canada and Mexico, then China, are the biggest or the largest trade partners of the United States of America. And just now, Donald Trump, maybe he has done his homework, maybe not, because if we are to go by what he said 3 decades ago, even when he started nursing gradually the possibility of him becoming the American president, he had this at the back of his mind that he was going to see how he will explore all that is needed, whether naturally, artificially, or otherwise, to see how America could be great again. And he came up with the slogan, America can be great again.
That is, make America great again.
Yes. And so just now, the man is telling you that, look, we are independent of other nations of the world. But yes, true, may not be true. He is correct. Just other nations of the world too are independent. But when you look at the principles of togetherness, you begin to think of, oh, there could be need for persuasion, there could be need for negotiation. But in this wise, if the man feels that, look, so many persons have been on the back of America and want to see how America can just shiver a little and let those countries begin to think inwardly of how they could make themselves better than what they find, the plight they find themselves. I do not see it as an offense. But however, we will also look at the signal the man is giving to other parts of the world. Yes, some countries are already saying, oh, with this kind of fellow in office, let us see how we could adjust to make something better for us. But now, when you look at the other part of it, the other side of it rather, Africa, what are our leaders thinking? Is this a wake-up call to our leaders? Or we are used to the phrase, hit the ground running. And when you look at the ground, you are not seeing any mark that indeed the ground is getting the heat of the run that is being declared. So the type of the persons like or fellows like Donald Trump is already telling us that, look, just give us little time. We will see how we will push you to the wall. Then, if you are pushed to the wall, are we going to bounce back? That should be the germane question. And I think that is what other countries of the world are beginning to reason out to see how they could be of better assistance to themselves than to just be parasitic to America, just as Donald Trump in his mind and heart feels that other nations of the world are parasite to the United States of America. So if he executes all of these his executive orders, what lies or what becomes of Africa and other parts of the world?
All right, we'll come to that. Now, if you take a look at the video right now, you're going to see shipment. Now, from what he said even in America, Americans don't even purchase American goods. They rather go for Chinese goods because according to them it's cheaper. They rather go for European goods because according to them it's cheaper. Goods from Canada, they are cheaper. And they'll keep several American production companies or producers because of the price, like what Barrister Emmanuel Bodo rightly talked about. You also opine that things that we want to manufacture, it's cheaper to manufacture them in China, then ship them back again to America. Do you think for them to have a leverage, imposing tariff on these goods will make American goods to be a par in terms of price with other goods in America, thereby leveling the playing field even for American manufacturers?
You see, for every action, there's always a plus and a minus. And I believe that his actions right now is a wake-up call to everybody to note that things can shake up. Things must not happen the way it has been happening, and which is necessary. But the manner of approach is what is important. How I said, if he had spoken to and said, this is what I'm going to do, let everybody take some adjustment. Let us see where we are and see how we can make it. Then some leaders will not be reacting the way they are reacting now. For Africa, I think we need a drastic action like this. Because like I said, we have all it takes to be great, but we have refused to be great. But again, America cannot excuse itself from the poverty of Africa, because they have also made it possible for African leaders to transfer African wealth to America. They have also made it possible for exploitation of African minerals by reason of intervening even in politics of Africa, of who should be a leader, the leader that can do what their bidding is. So they also have a problem. But like I said, if I give you an advice and you take it, it becomes your own. African leaders have pulverized themselves by reason of greed and reason of non-understanding. Who are the leaders? Do we have leaders who were trained to be leaders? We have accidental leaders who have no plan, who have no purpose for leadership. Their own leadership is to be have access to the wealth and without anything to anybody. But the Americans have grown to a point of their life that whatever affects the American economy must be looked into. The reason why Africans are where they are, they transport, look at Nigeria. you have oil. You take the raw oil, give it to somebody else, process it, and bring it back to you in a more expensive manner. Why is it? Our refineries have been up for years. Billions and trillions have been spent in trying to repair it. Why is it not working?
Is this the fault of America?
No, I'm only saying that this is a wake-up call for us.
All right.
For Donald Trump to say, look, he's already developing American oil. Because they're talking about
fracking and the rest of them.
And all of them.
Yes.
I said, as far as he's concerned, he's a businessman, so he's looking at everything from the profit angle. What am I going to get? I don't want to see business. So I think it's a forthright leadership thought of everybody that we need to be talking about. But I said, what I'm saying is that it must not be done in such a haste. Now, he had spoken to the Guatemala president or the president, and I was okay, we'll give you 1 month, we'll discuss that, what's supposed to be. Yes, do it there. But I'm saying, even in the America itself, almost everybody is going to court.
Okay.
To try to see, look, you cannot have this autocratic power.
But it's called executive power.
No, you call it executive power.
Where is within this power? Executive power.
Nobody are telling him, this is not your power.
Okay.
You have gone above your power. Because there's something the parliament must do.
I'll come back to you, Reverend. I'll come back to you, Reverend. Now, he said that Donald Trump is in a hurry. But he's been saying this for since we get to know who Donald Trump is, being a business mogul and all that. He's saying the world is ripping America off. The first organization he really whipped so hard was NATO. He was like, look, guys, you are not bringing your quota. We'll soon pull out. And NATO needed to, adjust. Right now, WHO, World Health Organization, needs to do some shaking because you guys have been milking America dry. And he came to Canada, Mexico, and the European allies. Like he said 30 years ago, our allies we can talk to. Our enemies are our enemy. Our allies, let's talk to them. You guys have been ripping us. Or what can you imagine that in your country, another goods is blazing the trail, and your own production is there behind? Do you think Donald Trump is really trying to salvage America, as in making them great again, for them to take care of themselves and, of course, the world at large? Barrister.
I think so. I think so. That the approach that the man is exploring.
No, you just hold on. Just hold that thought. We'll return. You continue with your explanation. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay. Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's a live studio. You get to hear our side talks at times. Well, we were on your Barrister Emmanuel before we went for that particular break. So go ahead with your chain of thoughts.
In America, there is this ideology where every American will tell you that you think America, you sleep America, and you wake America. And I think Donald Trump is one of those pivoters of such principles, and he has cultivated such principle, and now that principle is nothing but part of him, and you see him manifest it. Now that he is the president of America for the second term, and the man may not be needing another tenure as he stands, if we are to go by the principle and the constitutional provisions in America. And the man would want to tell you that I have just this chance to see how I can clean up every mess in America and make America great again. I repeat. So when you see him and his executive orders, you cannot differentiate him from his executive orders from what he told the world over 3 decades ago. You see the man manifesting it. And you would agree with me, and also my listeners will agree with me, that the man is indeed a first class in America, who thinks America, who sleeps America, and who wakes America.
And that makes America selfish.
Yeah, you can call it selfish because every one of us dream of riding on the back of America. That's why today in Africa, tell me how many presidents of Africa that don't go to Europe, don't go to America for medication. Tell me. Are you saying with the natural gift that the Almighty God himself bestowed in Africa, that Africa cannot have a good health facility, that can take care of its citizens or our citizens, as the case may be. So why will I now be blaming Donald Trump for coming up with an executive order to say, look, I want to wipe out all this mess. I want to ensure that America is not tied, no country in the world is tied to the strings of America. Mind you, the AIDS policy, America is the first and strongest financier of AIDS, and the money to Africa. And all of those monies that were given to Africa, where are the monies today? So if you begin to probe into it, you would agree with me and see reason why Donald Trump should execute such an executive order. Because after all, the monies that America release to the international agencies that are in turn released to Africa, where are they? Who is in charge of them? Who is manipulating all those monies? Who is the one that is taking all those monies? So there are more questions begging for answers. So the man is telling you, look, we cannot be doing all of this. And America is involved in so many other things. Before now, we saw America in Gulf War. Before now, we saw America, if not for simple understanding, America would have been at loggerhead with even China. America would have been at loggerhead with North Korea. Because you would also agree with me that even the Russian-Korean crisis, America is behind Russia-Ukraine. America is behind Ukraine. Because when you talk of NATO, you talk of America.
All right.
So all of these monies are going out, and it's affecting the economy of America. So the man is telling you, I want our economy to be strong and stable as it used to be. Let's reduce this.
All right. Now let's take a look at America debt profile. According to records, they're amongst the highest, debt, or so to speak, globally, and they're managing. And on a second hand, he talked about negotiating with these people, talking to them before the tariff will be imposed. Take a look at these two factors. Don't you think that Donald Trump is really working within his power to make sure that, one, the debt profile of America is reduced to the barest minimum? And of course, other people should wake up and know that America is no longer in Nigerian term, so to speak, economically. Take it up from there.
You see, when America said they were the police of the world, nobody imposed it on them. They took the responsibility and they said democracy must be everywhere in the world. So when you give yourself a responsibility, don't cry when the implications come. I'm not angry with Donald Trump that is saying American first. I'm not very satisfied with the principles at which it's been projected. I must say, I just like to deal with the American society. That's my major problem. The other ones are external, which can be dealt with. When you begin to do things against even your own citizens in a manner that is against the principal democratic culture, right now, a lot of Americans have lost their job. Why? Because they were doing their job and you felt they were doing it against you. That is not normal as far as I'm concerned, a normal president of a country. You follow the law. Even those, he just released those who were even legally adjudged to have done evil against the American Constitution, American law, American Constitution. And you are telling me because it happens to you. He says he's a good businessman. But look at the New York case against him. He's talking about his businesses and all. You say you have billions, and then you were bankrupt. So he has never really, see, I can't believe the man who has not told me the truth, no matter what you're talking about. So I need to look at that. How authentic is this man? Again, if you are, why is it difficult for you to deal with the principles of governance? They tell you, you can't sack these persons except you go by the law. Only the house, which you must give 30 days notice and tell them why you must do this. You didn't do that. You just by a fiat of pen. And he has said it before when he was campaigning in New York, that he can shoot anybody and nothing will happen. I have felt shivers in my bones. You can shoot anybody and nothing will happen to you. And that's what he's trying to do. And that is not something that should be encouraged. He is also, the fight in the Middle East was also escalated when he single-handedly removed the headquarters of Israel from Tel Aviv
to Jerusalem.
What business is that? Until today, only America have moved their embassy to New York, to Jerusalem. He has also made it difficult for even the Israeli Palestinians to come to a compromise. Because as far as it's concerned, as far as I'm concerned, we need to have diplomacy as a way of life. Don't force because you have power, because you have economic power. You can force any nation to agree. Is what I was angry with Barack Obama when he was telling African nations, if you don't accept lesbians and gay, we will stop everything. What kind of nonsense is that? Why? That's against our culture. You can't impose it on us. And that's why some nations are now rising up to say, look, you can't. If you say you're going to give us 25%, how did you think that when you give 25% tariff, we will just be laughing? No. Because there are things also that comes from America. We will also give you the same percentage.
All right.
You know, and that truth for that, it is the common man. If Canada imposes tax on America on gas, you find out how many people can drive their car. Does that give benefit to the citizens? No. So as much as possible, as much as we are talking, let us learn to see how does it affect the ordinary citizen. I have friends who call me from the US. Things are getting tougher on a daily basis. You know, and that doesn't make anything. Okay, you look at the issue of deportation. Look at the issue of deportation. Yes, we have a right to deport those who you feel are illegal. But don't just go about. You broke into a house, you break into a church, you break into a mosque, you are arresting everybody. You put them on handcuffed. and that's insane. That's what I'm concerned. So you should let him, even if you are going to do something, let's reason.
Okay, I will come back to you. Now, when he said he's going to place tariff on goods coming from Canada, Mexico, and of course from Europe, they reacted. Canada said, look, if you do that to us, we too will do it to immediately. Elon Musk, Starlink, all that nature was hit. And Donald Trump, according to report, now changes mind, say, okay, fine, let's hold on. Let's talk. Don't you think if other countries should back at Donald Trump and his principle, he may just call it back and let sleeping dog lie?
You see what I'm talking about? By the time the man executes or implements his executive orders, other countries of the world should not be toothless bulldog that only bark. They too should also implement executive order on American goods. And you know what? America has a system. I told somebody some time ago, I said, when you look at the person called Donald Trump, in dealing with his enemies, he's a black man in white skin. That is who he is. And that's why Reverend here had made another comparison between him and the man called Barack Obama, who is a black man. So you see the black nature. That is an aside. Now, when he implements his policies, and the policies affect nation A, B, C, the question that nation A, B, C should ask themselves, do we also have American goods who are being imported into our country? Let's also make policies that will be in tandem with that Donald Trump has done. I know the man will adjust. But when you keep crying, you keep wailing, there is lamentation in the air because the man has executed his policies. To my mind, I think there is absolutely no room for that. That is unnecessary. Look at the person you are dealing with. Follow him, like we say here, quote now, bumper for bumper or bumper to bumper. Follow him ensure that every step it takes, you watch it and know whether the step will favor you or will not. The man will adjust. So by the time the man sees that, I am not just the captain of this boat, the boat of the world. I am not just the captain. I also have need or necessity to also look to other nations for assistance when the time comes. I think he will adjust his policies and see how there could be room for fairness and see how there could be room for credibility. To know that, look, it is not just we. The mind of an average American, I repeat, they think America, they sleep America, and they wake America. So Donald Trump is that kind of person. Now maybe being a businessman, and you see the person he has brought to be his ally, Elon Musk, another man who is a businessman, who thinks of himself and his business. And both of them have now come together to say, okay, let us begin to throw missiles, to economic missiles, to see the reaction of other nations of the world. The nations of the world should also cast missiles to them. And by so doing, there will not be need for an agreement to strike a balance, but not to begin to wail, not to begin to lament, to say, oh, this man, he told us 3 decades ago or over 3 decades ago that he was going to do this and that, and the man is doing it. Yes, that is his own style. Now, the question is, what is your style? How do you protect yourself? Canada and Mexico, who are America's neighbor, the man is telling that every goods that comes from there is 25% tariff. And he is given 10% tariff to China, who is far from him. So, what Canada has reacted, and I think Canada's reaction is the best reaction. Should you implement this on us, we will also implement us on you. Then, before you know, there will be need for a withdrawal and the striking of a balance. And not to cry.
All right. Now, do you think that this is like, a recipe for disaster on the global market? You strike, I strike back. There'll be this imbalance on the sheets and it will just plummet.
Well, there's already a shake-up. And the world trade is beginning to feel. People are beginning to sit back and talk. People are meetings, different places. How do we react? You see, sometimes in life you need a shake-up. Because when you stay where you are all the time, you think you are making progress. You will not know that you are making backward reverse. For me, the African situation, I prefer it so that they can now, if you now say, look, no American person, no African person should come to America for treatment, fine. I'll very much like that. Let them sit at home. If you cannot make to happen what needs to happen, then suffer the same consequences. That's why I'm saying that it is because of the way they have also treated these so-called African leaders that they are doing what they are doing, because they can always run to America, go and rest, build houses there, and you give them protection. So let us understand that there is a wake-up call for every nation to look at who are we really? What is our position? What are things that we can look at to improve our economy and all? You also look at, I once said not long ago that Nigerian graduates cannot be employed because the educational system of Nigeria is almost of no value. So, but Nigerians live here, go abroad, and make significant improvements on things. And you're asking yourself, why? Look at electricity in Nigeria. For how many years now have they been talking? Is it because we don't have the raw materials? We have it. But why is there no electricity? It is also said, an American president and a British prime minister said, it is retrogressive to be imposing taxes on citizens. It doesn't give you benefits. But yet, every day, Africans are imposing taxes on their citizens of everything. There's no tax holiday, there's no tax relief.
But that's what the Trump is doing indirectly.
Not to American citizens.
No, not to American citizens. But you see very
if you want to, but hold on now, because this is like affecting everyone. If you impose tariff on goods and that particular product is needed, They'll be forced to buy it, so that's taxation indirectly.
Yes, but Americans will give tax relief to a citizen. Every year, the taxes you have paid for the whole year, American calculate it and give you a fraction back. That's what they do. So they have a way of cushioning the effects on their citizens.
That means Donald Trump is not wrong in what he's doing then.
I've not said it's wrong. I've only said the way and manner. You say, when you say a wrong thing at the right time, it doesn't make it right. Okay? There is a policy. Before you do this, the Congress must approve. Before you spend this money, the Congress must approve. It is there. But when you now begin to do the work of Congress, then you are imbalancing the whole system, and you are going to make America crumble. America will suffer for it. That's the point. When the foundation is broken, then the house cannot stand.
All right. Do you feel that America will suffer for this action of Donald Trump, like what Reverend opined?
Just now, no. I see them readjusting, because even they have a system. Do we have a system? We don't have a system. But you see us talk so much about system. Over there, they don't even talk about system the way we do. Yet, they are the owners of system. So what they needed to do, America is so structured in a way that there is room for adjustment and readjustment. Unlike we here, where somebody feels that I can keep imposing tax on the people. We just saw the drama that just took, we saw the over your new screw just now, the NLC suspending. You make people feel that they are less important. Over there, it is not like that. Americans can even challenge the action of the president in court. But over here, somebody will be asking you, what local standard do you have to even bring the president to court? But there, a citizen can challenge the activities of the president in court. So there is no need for comparison, because the gulf is so wide and as big as the world. So let's leave that. The truth remains that should Donald Trump carry out his threats, and there's a reaction from other parts of the world, and that's why I believe strongly that the singular purpose of Donald Trump's threats on economic policy of the United States of America is Africa. Because the man knows that African leaders are indeed not ready for any way forward. Talk more of onward, then you now consider upward. So Africa are neither retrogressing nor stagnant. So, and that just now is, there is need for a wake-up call. Other parts of the world will react. Europe will react. But does Africa has the muscle to react? I leave that question for you to answer.
Interesting. This is not a debate. You cannot have the question for me to answer. All right, we'll call it a wrap on this show. Now, do you feel that with other nations of the world reacting to the tariff threat, so to speak, by Donald Trump, do you feel that Donald Trump will rescind in his decision, or he's going to go through with it, knowing fully well that they said America first, and that, according to some ponder, it is a way to, like, you know, lessen the debt burden of America, because according to them, America is carrying so much burden.
You see, my only relief is that the American judiciary is always up to the task. They have already blocked about 2 or 3 of his executive order, and others are going to court, and that's the beauty of it. It doesn't take 2 days for them to judge the case. In Nigeria, if you go to court, 4 years will pass. That case will never be mentioned. And so there is that despondency with people. But Americans are upbeat. If you do something against us as against the country, we go to court. And you must respect it. You know? And that's the only reason why I have hope. Not all these executive orders are out of order. But there are those which must follow the law. Go and follow the law. We don't want a despot. We don't want an autocratic president in America. That is not the American lifestyle.
All right.
You know, and that's me.
All right.
Everybody, see, it's not every time you use light gloves Sometimes you need some very hard gloves, to do something so that people can wake up and do things. And not like our Nigerian politicians who are always believing that they must buy Jeep, they must buy this one.
All right, thank you.
And before I say this, we have seen, you saw American president take over. Did you see any new chair?
Okay, thank you so much. Well, Barrister, your last line on this discussion, how do you think Donald Trump should really go about this, knowing fully well that whenever he says a thing, he always does at least 90% or 95% of his thing that he just comes out of his mouth?
He should go on with his threat.
Should go with it.
And let the world react.
All right. He should go with his threats and let the world react. But for the Reverend is saying the way he's going about it, he doesn't really like it. Executive order, this executive order, that we should negotiate, talk to the rest of the world to know how they feel. But as I say, in love and war, all is fair. The war rages on. Will America be the dream of Donald Trump? Or these are just measures to make the world wake up to the responsibility? Each continent should wake up, muzzle up, and make their countries great again. We'll do it again next week, Tuesday. God willing. Bye for now.